Every single day I stream, I'm getting tons of questions about the First Descendants setup when it comes to the stats, the skills, your loadout, and so much more. Today, we're going to answer some big ones, probably the biggest that I've been asked over and over just for you guys. Before we talk about that, I do want to make sure you guys know thank you very much. I have multiple giveaways just to show love to the community, and I would like for you guys to go ahead and try to answer. Simple. Just leave a comment and I'll be selecting winners. That in mind, share this video. The more people we get involved, the more giveaways I'll do. So check that out in the comments. Now, back to this game. This game has so many different things that are just worded differently. And you play a game and it tells you one thing. It's an attribute, it's a stat, it's a perk, it's a skill. And so today I'm going to kind of clear out the confusion and then probably help beginners and advanced players with some really cool little secret tips and tricks and things that I like to do to kind of complement the way everything works on a build. So you're watching right now the Pyromaniac fight. Had a lot of fun testing this build. Balby, who's actually my favorite character right now, and I definitely recommend trying her out. As you can see, I basically beat him with the skills, and it's because of what I'm about to teach you so that you can know as well. So let's get into it. We're diving down the rabbit hole right now. All right, so first things first, as you see, yes. We're talking about reactors to start off with. Reactors are probably one of the most important things you want to learn because they're going to play a big factor to all of your skills and all of your elements. Before I get into this breakdown about reactors, I do want to help you understand the way things work with the reactors. If you look at the bottom, it'll show you that down here is exactly every skill that you're using, depending on the character, of course. And so you have every skill here, but that doesn't mean that these skills are enhanced just because it's showcased. There's a method here where you want to activate the boost for this. Okay. So there's a couple different boosts, and we'll get into that fully. We're going to start off at the top. Of course, your level is going to be important. Level 100 right now is the max. They're probably going to raise that later on, but you want to make sure you have high level skill power number 1. Okay, the sub attack, people don't use it as much, but it is powerful if you can get a good one in there. But the skill power is very important. Now, underneath it, probably one of the trickiest ones that people are like, what does this even mean? Well, if you want to have extra damage on your skill power, you can see right down below, it says reach skill power 140. That won't happen if you don't meet the optimization condition. The condition to be able to get that 140 instead of 100 is putting on a specific weapon. So depending on your loadout and your setup, for example, the beam rifle for this specific reactor is what you want. But if you go and you take a look at my current build, I have a shotgun. Okay. And the way this works is that you can actually have a variety. Okay. Because there's two different factors. So if I'm using the ultimate version of the reactors, it says something different. It says optimization condition, and then it tells you the name of the weapon. It says the Thunder Cage, and then it says mounting, meaning that you have it on and you're shooting with it. And then that will give you a 160 buff, which is very awesome. So it got an extra 20 skill power. But the issue is maybe you don't want to use this. So that's why ultimates aren't always going to be the best. I would probably recommend playing with the rare versions. The rare versions make it so that you can not have to have it equipped as far as using it in your hand. You can put it in your loadout and then you're good to go. So I'll give you an example with my setup. Right now I'm using this reactor, this pretty cool. Materialized phase reactor. And the condition says shotguns class equipped. So I have the shotgun equipped, but guess what? I have it on my third slot, and I'm pretty much not going to use it at all. It's just there for the extra unlock of the skill power. So now I'm getting 40 extra skill power on top of the 100. So 140 skill power. And this is something you're going to want to do with your build. As you go, you'll find the perfect setup with that condition. All right, that's step number 1 to really maximize and go from there. Okay. Now there's a lot, and I mean a lot, to talk about when it comes to your character and their skills and so much more. It's a big conversation about how they work, and I'm going to get into it right now and show you something that's important. So each character has a multitude of attributes. Okay. So let's just say, for example, I'm going to pick somebody easy who we all know, Bunny. Bunny has electricity as her main focus on every single skill. You can see it right here. It looks really good if you need a close up. Bunny has electricity, and then she has fuse. You can see it right above the skill, which is crazy good. But you don't have to focus on one or the other. You can do both by enhancing your build, and I'll show you that in a second here. But let's just keep going down a rabbit hole. And then now she has electric with singular. Okay, that gives you the speed, which is awesome. The most popular one right now in the game, which will get nerfed at some point, electric and singular for her lightning emission. All right, so this is going to be something that I want to do, and we're not doing a build guide, guys, but if I was to, I'll give you an example. Right now I'm using non-attribute specialists. Each character has a specialization. So if I was to go into the stash and look for specializations, each of them will have their own. And so depending on which character you're using, for example, electric specialist, guess what? That's for Bunny. I'm going to showcase her right now. Bunny right here has electric specialist. So I would put that on her guaranteed. She had fuse as well. Let's do that. But let's just talk about somebody else. We're looking at my favorite, and I love this ability right here because it's survival, it's defense, it's offense, it's everything. And she has a non-attribute and dimension cleanup for this ability. So what does that mean? I can put on non-attribute specialist and try to put on something else like dimension to double up my damage if I want it. And that's something you can do as well. So those are just some key components. The reason I had to bring that up, I didn't want to go through that whole breakdown, but that helps with these beautiful, lovely reactors. They're the key thing to the game. So be sure to pay attention. So for me, on my build, I personally have, as you can see, non-attribute power and then dimension skill power. So why is that? Again, like I said, she has that as her main focus. So guess what? All those abilities will get buffed. But look at this one. This one has fuse on it. That means this is not going to do the same amount of damage, but my attribute will do it. So the fact that it has two different attributes, I would have to try to figure something out on the build, put on something that can enhance it. But as you can see, I'm focusing on dimension because that's the skills I want to make stronger. And so that is critical that you start paying attention to that. And again, it'll show you the stats. So it's kind of a little bit easy, to be honest with you. When you're putting on a weapon at the bottom down here, when you see the skill powers when equipped, it's showing you the amount of damage you can do. It's going to take you to that next level and push you forward. So let's just make believe I'm going to switch. You can see right here, it's lowering because this is all about fire and singularity. That's not a part of my skill set. So I keep going on. Toxic and tech, which that would be more for Freyna, but it doesn't work for this character. So you can see the differences that are happening. Okay, pay attention to that, and it's gonna help you. And it's not just about those parts. There's more in the game for you to pay attention to, but those are some of the key components that is gonna help you. And just to kind of give you a quick breakdown as well, on the bottom, these are very critical. Okay, these passive buffs or boost are gonna really change the game for you if you can find the perfect god role. Of course, this will be the last thing you focus on. You want all the damage from the things I just talked about, but these are critical. Okay, depending on which character you have to be selective on what works and what doesn't work. For example, skill range is important. Now, who's going to use it? Which character? Those are the questions you got to like ask yourself. For me, right now, I'm using non-attribute skill. As you can see, that is giving me the boost big time. And then I have skill critical hit damage because I'm testing something about getting critical hits. I can get 100k per tick with this character because of that. And I'll give you a quick demonstration how I do this. So as I hit them, you're going to see that's going to do 36,000. And then it does over 100,000 when you see it does a critical, which is going to do in just a second. But as they're in here, and again, you're fighting a big boss and you're hitting them with this casually. And that's where you'll see some heavy duty damage. There it goes right there. Over 100k. So it's just an example. And this is not a skill for damage, right? She's not considered a DPS player. I'm making her one because I want to show off that I can. But that's just an example of what to do. So let's just kind of recap some of this so you guys can get a picture of it all. The reactor is a huge part of your gameplay. It's going to help you be a better player overall. You don't want to ignore it. You want to try and make sure you're on top of it, actually handling everything that you need to handle, because it's definitely much needed. And so the conditions are needing to be met. All right, there's two different versions. There's the rare, which is the purple, which allows you to put on anything and you don't have to have it in your hand. You could just have it on your loadout, which is going to give you that extra boost. And then, of course, you got the ultimate version, which makes it so you have to have it shooting with it, or at least having it in your hand as you're running around. So that's not always viable, depending on your build, what you want to do with that. The other portion is the skill power, which skill power here boosts depending on your character's attributes. And so you want to put on both. You want to have both if you can, of whatever skill down below that you might use more often. And then last but not least, the passives here are going to give you boost for certain things, and you want to also complement it. Again, I would have to go through a full guide about each character and which is the best reactor. If you want that, you got to give me at least 2,000 likes and we'll discuss more of that. But this is just the core for you to get started and to kind of grow and be better as a player. And again, showing you Pyro just as just a warm-up test run, just using my skills only to take him out. And pretty fun and interesting. And as you can see, this is before I'm mid-maxing this character actually. So I've been upgrading it even more and running through some end game content as we go. So you see, anything's possible, guys. But I do want to say thank you so much for everybody. We got that giveaway for those who need it. Go ahead and hit the comments. Metal Gear Solid Delta Snake Eater and Assassin's Creed Shadows. Plus, I also have the creator code that you can use if you're going to purchase anything. You know, show me love, man. Appreciate y'all. Besides that, I do have an amazing Valby guide that I'm so excited to showcase to you guys, plus a lot more in store. Check it out. It should be popping up right now.